This will be the first short build update to my Archmage Poison Hexblast build. Since my last video, I focused more on improving the quality of life features and tailored the mapping setup to be a bit more suited towards blasting breaches. I'm quite happy with the changes. They've elevated the build from being a decent mapper to actually a very good mapper, which was achieved by using this Sapphire Jewel. The 2% mana on kill allows me to keep a very high cast speed, and the curse AoE really helps with casting Hexblast at a distance, because it extends the radius of blasphemy quite significantly. I'm currently running 2 Sapphires with increased AoE, which is allowing Hexblast to be cast from almost the tip of the screen. I initially underrated Hexblast for high tempo mapping, as I felt like its hard limit of 9 explosions puts a cap on clear speed, but adding curse range really helps with thinning out packs before they get too close, and the 2% mana on kill helps keep mana topped out at nearly all times. I've also been running a few points into spell AoE to allow Hexblast to chain more easily, which has only added to the smoothness at the cost of a tiny bit of damage. As you can see on screen, the higher cast speed setup has improved the snappiness and mobility from my initial setup. The clear rate is still below Spark, it's still below Herald of Ice, but not too far below. The bossing setup is currently unchanged. So here are some small changes to the Hexblast setup. Here we've dropped Considered Casting, gone for Chaos Mastery, Inspiration, Arcane Surge for a good amount of mana regen and cast speed, Arcane Tempo and Lightning Penetration. Now the Lightning Penetration doesn't actually affect any of our poison damage, but it does make the initial hit, which is much more important for mapping since you don't really have time to build up poisons. It makes the initial hit quite a lot more powerful, and therefore it just massively improves like the amount of casts you need to do just to blow up an entire pack. As for the tree, nothing really has changed significantly. I've just taken some points out of this cluster here, Dark Entries. Now I will inform everybody that this did drop my damage by about 11%, something like that. It's about an 11% loss in damage, but to be honest I do enough boss damage anyway at this point. I'm doing well over 1 million, even with only slight gear improvements since my last video. It's more than enough for pretty much anything I've fought so far. I'm doing about 1.5 million, and maybe with this and some other stuff I could get that to 2 million pretty quickly. For now I'm testing out this section here, so I wanted to add a bit more spell AoE to Hexblast. The main reason being, it sort of just improves like the ability for its explosions to overlap a bit more. So you can experiment with this cluster a little bit. I actually think the optimal setup is to go here for 8%, 8%, 8%, and then 20% here. I think that's a good sort of like sum total. I've gone for these 3 here, but once I get another point, I'll probably reroute this and put some points into here, because I do think that's just a little bit better. But you can work it out yourself. You can play around with some different combinations and just see whichever setup feels nice to you. Now I will add that the bossing setup is unchanged, so in the bossing setup we've still got Considered Casting, Inspiration, Concentrated Effect, Comorbidity and Deadly Poisons. Now you will notice there is obviously quite a lot lower attack speed, sorry, cast speed when you use this, but the way I like to think of it is this is like a really heavy, thick, chunky poison that you're applying to the enemy, and you can really feel the bam, bam, bam impact. Trust me, very satisfying when you can get up to several million DPS once things are actually fully ticking. And finally guys, I'm just going to share with you a little concept that I was slyly working on in the side. Now I don't think this is something I'm going to continue, mainly because I can't really be bothered finding a good mapping setup for cold spells, but what I've been doing is I've been trying to theory craft if we could manage to make Comet, or rather Poison Comet, into a one-shot ability. So what I did very, very quickly was, I'm currently using a video, but I swapped my wand for a +5 cold spell skill wand. I changed that over, I put like a couple of points in the cold skills on the tree, so I get +6 to it. I'm currently using a 4-link Comet, as you can see on this video here. Now it claims to do 240k damage in a single hit, and this is supported by Spell Echo, so it's effectively 2 hits. I'm just going to share with you a short video demonstration I did on, by the way, this is not an optimized setup at all, it's only a 4-link. I haven't properly tested this and I only put a few points into cold skills, but have a look at this. I test out on this difficulty 4 map boss here, again very small curse AoE, we don't use blasphemy. Here comes the first cast, very slow, we don't get a crit, feels bad man, however. Almost out of mana, so I don't really like the clunkiness of this ability, but then watch, boom, boom. Look at that. Like it's like 4 million damage in a single, well, a double cast of one ability. It's there, guys, right? The damage of this ability is here. I know it's here. Hopefully one of you guys, or perhaps a bigger streamer or a build maker, especially once we have POB2 coming out, somebody will realize that we can make an instantaneous Comet one-shot build using my tech with Archmage, with Comet, providing there's been no significant changes, because the base damage of Comet is extremely high. It's triple the base damage of Hexblast. And you can cast 2 of it at once, so you really can make an absolute instant one-shot boss nuking ability. This is on a completely unoptimized setup. I've got 1-1 switch, a little bit of tree changes, and that's pretty much it. I can do 4 million damage immediately. If you get this to level 35, if you do some tech with freezing perhaps to give like a freezing proc on the ability, and if you give it a 6 link, this was only a 4 link, the damage is absolutely there. I'm sharing it with you guys because I don't think it's something I'm going to work on, but I hope one of you can pick it up.